Hello, folks, and welcome to today's episode of the Hospitable Hosts podcast. Today, we're talking about social media marketing, and we have Jodi Bourne with us. Jodi is a vacation rental business and marketing coach, educator, and website designer with a rich background in business management, brand messaging, digital marketing, and customer service across various industries, focused on tourism and vacation rentals since 2014. Jodi's passion for tourism and hospitality shines through in her work and everything she does. She's dedicated to helping savvy vacation rental hosts build a more professional business, create a memorable guest-first experience, and leverage destination and relationship marketing for long-term success. Jodi also hosts the Savvy Host Roadmap podcast and accompanying newsletter, which focus on actionable tips to help hosts to build a profitable, professional, and independent business, elevate their brand, and create a proactive marketing strategy so they no longer wait for guests to find them on OTAs. Jodi lives in Texas Hill Country near Austin with her husband, family, and dogs, Jolene, Oscar, and Bunny. She has been a guest at more than 65 vacation rentals and counting. You can also find her online at jodibourne.com and on Instagram or Facebook at Hey Jodi Bourne. Let's get into it. Hey Jodi, how are you doing today?
I'm great, Miles. Thank you for having me. Excited.
Awesome. No, great to have you on, Jodi. And I'm sure our listeners are keen to learn more about social media strategy and how they can use it to kind of really promote their bookings.
Yes, it's
So
definitely a hot topic.
yeah, awesome. So let's kind of get straight into it. I'd love to really kind of start with why social media. Why should we be using that as a marketing channel?
Well, you really don't have an option not to, really, in today's day and age. It is the marketing channel you should be on. But really, it's about, because social media is about building community. It's social and
Yeah.
community and network. And so it's really just about building that community, whether it's with your previous guests or other stakeholders in your business, the local community, even friends and family, anybody that can share your message. And of course, future guests. That's what that's what they're here. You're here for, is building the bookings and the
Mhm.
relationships with future guests. But it's all about building that network.
Awesome. And then what are some of the advantages of that versus maybe like email marketing? Email marketing we can take existing bookers, existing guests, and kind of email them directly and say like come and stay again. What are some of the advantages that social media offers that maybe email marketing doesn't?
Well, so I really believe that social media marketing should be an extension of your email marketing. So I believe that once you've developed these relationships and you've created this kind of network and following, the next step is to lead them to an email list, an active email list
Mm,
of potential guests and leads, rather than just previous guests who've given you their email because they booked. But the difference really is just the kind of content you're going to be sharing. So email marketing is a little bit more strategic, a little bit more sales
yeah.
messaging. And with social media, you're going to have a lot of opportunity to share your personality, your local,
Mhm.
things to do, the destination marketing and all of that can come in with the social media, and sharing your knowledge, expertise, and personality. There's plenty of opportunities to share personality with social media.
Awesome. Yeah, yeah. And that's kind of a good point of personality and kind of brand tone of voice. How do
Mhm.
you decide how you go out and kind of like what that kind of voice is, and how do you put that into some of your posts as well?
Well, AI has made it so much easier. In the past, I would have said, you analyze your voice and you write down the words that you use and all of this, but
Mm,
AI is just an amazing tool for this kind of thing. I don't recommend it for writing all of your content, but
mm,
you can literally talk into a document, let's say Google Docs or a Notes
yeah.
app on your phone, talk into it, just talk as you would, tell a story, share something about yourself, about your properties, and then upload that transcript into ChatGPT and ask it to
Hmm.
analyze your voice and give you key talking points. I mean, that is such an amazing way to really hone in on that brand voice and message and personality. And there's also a lot of, you can Google search tools for defining your brand voice
Mm,
that are really helpful. Brand voices and personality are so important. It's something that's really overlooked a lot, I think,
yeah.
for vacation rental marketers.
Nice. Yeah, yeah. I think that's really important for kind of bringing your personality across and having that personal connection with people, right? I think it's very important.
Definitely. Authenticity, being yourself. I
Mm.
tell when I'm working with clients all the time, they ask me questions, do I really need to talk about this or that? Or, maybe it's their own travels or their dogs or their
Yeah.
grandkids or children. And I'm like, no, you're building a connection. It's just like you're at a church social or a bar or a networking event, wherever, a party, you're just building a network, and you do that through your personality.
Awesome, yeah, and maybe we can get onto a little bit about kind of on the topic of personas. Thinking about like buyer persona, guest avatar, loads of different marketing terms we could put around it. I mean, what does that mean? Maybe define that for us first, and then why is that something that's important to define before we kind of start doing our marketing?
Okay. Well, so I call it a perfect guest avatar.
Cool. Yeah, there we go.
And for me, I just believe that, and I think anybody who's had experience marketing, you just specific marketing means
Mhm.
specifically marketing to your specific avatars. And that's across the board, no matter what kind of business you're in. I mean, you and I are
Yeah.
marketing for B2B, and we know the same thing. You have to know who is listening to your message and really honing in on what they're looking for in your destination, in your guest experience from your property, can really help you be more specific. And one of the examples I use quite often is if you're showing a photo on a beach. Let's say you have a beach property, a
Yeah.
beach rental, and you're just showing a standard photo. Maybe it's sunset, maybe it's people in the waves, whatever that photo is, beach umbrellas. I see that one a
Mm.
lot. That just says beach, and everybody sees that and thinks beach. But if you have a photo of a mom, say sitting in a beach chair relaxing with a book, and
Yeah.
in the background are her 2 or 3 children under 5, maybe playing with dad or a partner in the
Mhm.
sand, that specific message to that specific avatar it really is relatable. They see it in your marketing, whether that's in your
Yeah.
listing photos or a social media post. They see that and they think, oh, this is me. This is what I want from that experience. So it really helps you elevate what you're marketing and the content that you should be creating.
Nice, yeah. And then I guess kind of you've given a great example there of kind of the type of content, but what are some of the other types of content that we could be producing for social media to help promote our properties and promote to our perfect guest avatar?
Well, I think that really one of the things that everyone needs to do is think about the kind of a cohesive theme that they should
Yeah.
use behind their content. And when you create a theme, when you have a theme, I kind of have 4 that I speak about most frequently. One is destination discovery, where
Hmm.
your theme is all about your destination. And this is for people who have maybe multiple properties, multiple avatars, but they know that their people are coming there to experience the destination.
Yeah.
So that's destination content can be shared across all social channels, and even that can be shared in a newsletter. It can be shared in a blog if you want to. That's
Hmm.
even content that if you're not booking direct, it's even content you can share in your listing, just in the captions of your photos, or maybe in the second part of your listing description. So that destination discovery is one really great theme. And then, I have multiple examples of other themes, experience based theme, where, really it's all about knowing why people are booking with you, who they
Yeah.
are, and what they're looking for from you.
Awesome. Cool. Sounds good. And then I think one other piece of content that I always think about, and we at Hospitable think about, is kind of user generated content as well, and kind of hearing it from the guest perspective. What are your thoughts on that and including that in social media?
Oh, I think it's super important if you can get it. I think a lot of hosts are kind of shy about
Mm.
asking for that content, or they don't know how to ask. Should start with their communications before pre-arrival, and then
Yeah.
go into the communications after arrival. Once if you've built a connection with them through your guest communications, then it's easy to ask for that. But user generated content is so important. I had a client with a dog friendly rental, and she asked every single guest who was bringing dogs to share photos of the dogs. She had a dog friendly pool,
Nice.
and they also had a dock. And this host ended up, she's probably got 100 photos and videos of dogs jumping in the pool, jumping off the dock, enjoying. She was very guest dog welcoming. Um,
Mm.
so it's so important. And then, also now there's so many content creators and, quote unquote influencers
Yeah.
who will provide that content, for a fee. A lot of times it's for a fee.
Mhm.
I talk to hosts all the time who don't want to pay that fee. They don't want to give up a night of their rental, but
Yeah.
if you are doing it smartly, then you can really, I mean, you're basically paying for really good photography and content. And so I encourage people to do that because that's user generated content as well that you can just use over and over and over and over again.
Nice, yeah, I like that. And not really something I've thought about too much, to be honest. But in terms of kind of influencers, then, do you typically recommend that hosts actually try to reach out to influencers, or is it more just being receptive to when they reach out to you?
Well, there's two kinds of influencers, again,
Mm.
quote unquote influencers. There's
Yeah,
what's called content creators. A content creator is somebody that's really good at creating content, but they may not have a following yet, or they may have a following that's not exactly your demographic or your
yeah,
destination, but they're still really great. I talked to a guy the other day who is a content creator, and he stays one night. You give him the night for free. You also pay his travel fees because he
hmm
goes all over the world. But
mm.
he has an amazing content package that he provides to you. Influencers, I do believe if you have a unique experience, a luxury property, a niche
Yeah,
property, or if you want to partner with your destination and tourism board or maybe some other local businesses, that's a great thing to do if you're kind of more of a destination based
mm.
property. But when you reach out to influencers, you're really going to get a lot of bang for your buck. I mean, I've worked with hosts. I'm in Texas in the Hill Country, and many of my clients starting out, and then even now, I still have some clients here in this area. And there's an influencer in the San Antonio area that we are constantly reaching out to, and she helped one of the hosts that I worked with get 50 bookings. They launched their property, a glamping property, and they launched it to her with her
Wow,
help, and 50 bookings, not 50 nights, 50 bookings in
that's
the
crazy.
week and a half that she was working with them. Now, she was expensive, but she more than paid for herself, and she was listed
Mm.
that year as the top influencer in Texas for
Oh
travel
wow.
experiences. So, yes, she was expensive, but she was worth it. So finding a great influencer can really be a success for you if you have that.
Amazing, yeah. Well, that's a fantastic story. 50 bookings is insane. Quite an
Yeah,
impact.
and I've had people say, show me, prove it, and I have the they used owner res, sorry,
Hmm.
but
Fair.
I have the owner res coupon code that
Yeah,
shows how many times that coupon code was used.
yeah.
So yeah,
Cool. Nice. Yeah, hospitable coupon codes are available.
oh good. I started to ask, I was like, oh, what if they're not? But, you
All
can
good. All good.
you can track it in a number of ways. I mean,
Exactly.
you can use a
Yeah.
Bitly link and all sorts of different links. You know that, but yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
But
Which
it's
is
good to have
it's
coupon
yeah.
codes because that helps. That really encourages,
Yeah.
especially for listing just any kind of discounts that you want to give out.
Yeah, I think that's a really important point as well, right? So, like, not just doing the marketing, but you also want to track what's working, right? I think that's very important is understanding what's actually working for you. Coupon code is part of that.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. QR codes and those Bitly links are really important to that. And all the services offer just their base analytics now, but it is really,
Yeah.
I think, one of the things that when I'm working with people and just basic general knowledge of what people are
Mm.
saying, they're only focused on that one conversion, that one thing. But when you're using social media, there's so much more that you should be looking for as far as a
Yeah.
metric. How many followers, what is your engagement rate? How many people are actually responding to your content? So there's different stages of social media when you're building out your content, and so
Mm.
knowing what kind of metrics you need to be looking for at the different stages is really helpful too.
Yeah, it's important to think about. It's not just the booking at the end of the day, but it's also important to be building impressions, building follower growth, because it might not be a booking this week, but maybe it's a booking in a few months, right? It's getting on
Exactly.
people's radar.
Right. And, people need touch points.
Mhm.
Very rarely is anyone going to find you on Instagram or Facebook and decide right then to book. If people are ready to book, they go to
Yeah.
Airbnb or
Mhm.
VRBO, or they've built a relationship with someone like you who has a vacation rental that they want to stay at. And so when they're ready to
Yeah.
book, they go back to your page, to your website, or wherever, or maybe send you a DM.
Mhm.
I've worked with a number of hosts who they get booking from DMs in their Instagram. So, that's
Amazing.
definitely a possibility. And that's a conversion.
Yeah, 100%. No, fantastic. And then we kind of briefly touched on paid pieces there with influencers. What about other kind of paid social media advertising? Do you recommend things like boosting on Instagram, Facebook posts?
I do if you have your own website or a landing page that you can track.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, if you're still using an OTA, it's not really recommended, other than to build maybe an audience. But as far as a conversion based ad,
Yeah,
I would do that, but I would be really careful about your website. Make sure that the landing page that you're sending them to is right. But it is a advertising is a great way to build not only traffic to your website in general and your
mm,
listing, but to build up your audience. A lot of
yeah,
number of people just use it to build a following that they can then potentially move to the next step in the booking process.
awesome. Yeah, and
But
then
caveat to that is you have
mm,
to really have a budget. I mean, again, I've worked with
yeah,
hosts who are like, "Can I spend $50?" And $50 one ad just because you're desperate for a
yeah,
booking is not going to do anything for you. Advertising is a
yeah,
strategy. It's not just
yeah,
a quick fix. So it's definitely
yeah.
something you should plan for, learn about, or hire a professional to help you at least get the first steps of it set up.
Yeah, for sure. Just dropping $50 into the Facebook algorithm, it'll just go poof like that and gone.
Been there, done that.
Mm. Yeah, good stuff. And then, sorry, just before we kind of, I want to kind of go on to kind of talk about your course a bit more and the additional support that you offer. But I think one key thing that we get asked quite a lot is kind of the consistency and the amount of effort that people need to put into social media. How often should people be posting? Is this something that they need to be like always on with? How can they kind of spend less time doing it, I guess, and kind of do a bit of scheduling? And what are your kind of recommendations there, Jodi?
So my recommendations are when you're in the audience building stage
Mm.
of really trying to grow your audience and grow a following and an engaged following, you need to be on there. You need to be
Yeah.
consistent with your content, whether that's Facebook or Instagram or even LinkedIn or wherever you are. Just the first stage of building those impressions and likes and comments is crucial. You have to be there. And that
Mm.
means daily. If not daily, then every other day. It's honestly, when you get in the habit, it's pretty easy to spend 20 minutes a couple times a day, a few times a week, just
Yeah.
being there. If you can't create content, you don't have content, there's still ways you can be active on social by sharing other people's content. You can share other business content,
Yeah.
destination based content, influencers content. So, now, once you have a following and once you've kind of learned some of those engagement strategies, then being there every day isn't important. What's important is engaging with your followers. And so I suggest, again, maybe at that point, 3 times a week,
Okay.
where you're going in and you're maybe DMing people, responding to their stories, liking and commenting on their
Hmm.
posts, which really just it's just a touch point. It's just a, hey, remember me? I'm such and such vacation rental. And you're just kind of it's again, it's if you're out in the real world,
Yeah.
and you don't just suddenly go home and stop talking about yourself. If you're building your business, you are still going out to the local restaurants and saying hi to people and reminding them of who you are and how you can, help them.
Yeah, 100%. And it's obviously one of those jobs that it's not a 9 to 5, right? You kind of have to always have it kind of back of mind and always kind of thinking about promoting to some degree.
Yeah, you do. And it's people get so tired when their social media is not working, and so they
Mm.
feel defeated, and then they don't want to go back. But it's just so important. If you're going to be on social media, don't it's
Yeah.
not a set and forget thing. It's something you
Yeah.
have to do. And if you don't want to be there, you should still have your channels available so people can see that you're a real thing and a real business. But if you're wanting to use it to get bookings, to proactively market, then you have to do it. You have to be there.
Awesome. Sounds good. And so, yeah, maybe tell us a bit more, Jody, about how, if hosts are kind of keen to learn a bit more about social media, some of the services you offer and ways that you can kind of help people, learn more and really kind of start, building up their engagement and their following and hopefully their bookings on social media as well.
Yes. Well, so I have a couple programs. I have a
Mhm.
group coaching program. It actually starts in October, and January of every year, and I actually teach marketing ground up. It's
Yeah.
usually 10 to 15 hosts are in the group, and I teach it all, beginning to end, which includes quite a bit, of course, about social media and email
Mm.
marketing and even branding, messaging, the whole thing. I've been doing that since 2020. So this will
Okay.
be, no, 2019, actually, right before COVID. The fall before COVID was my first
Mm.
year. And I love it. I really love it. I've had a number of hosts go through it. And then I also have an upcoming course on Instagram, actually, Instagram marketing,
Cool.
that's launching in September. And it's going to be a live course that will then be automated and on sale, where people can
Mhm.
purchase the recordings. But I'm excited about that. I started offering it. It was my very first course. It's called Instabooked. This year I'm calling it Instabooked Plus because I'm going to talk a lot more about Facebook as well
Yeah.
as Instagram,
Mhm.
because so many people, they're just not ready for Instagram, but they still need to understand social media. And
Yeah.
so I'm adding that in. So I've been doing that since 2018, and this is all new, all updated for 2024 because there's been so
Cool.
many changes to Instagram in the last 2 years. I mean, it is crazy. And then, I don't offer social media services. It's not something I
Mhm.
do, but I do have some connections with hosts. And I do have like some audit programs. If somebody wants to work with me, I audit their
Cool.
marketing, help them really understand where they can make it better. I help
Yeah.
them build kind of a strategy and a roadmap. I call it the marketing roadmap. And so that's a great service as well for somebody that's doing it on their own, or maybe
Mm.
they have someone hired that's kind of doing it, but they're not sure if it's working or how they can improve it.
Nice. Yeah.
Then that's a great service for them.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic. I think sometimes people just need to make sure that they're pointing in the right direction and just need a little help steering there.
That is exactly right. It's
Mhm.
just, somebody telling you, hey, you're doing a great job, or that's not working. Explaining what
Yeah.
metrics they should be looking for.
Hmm.
I'm a marketing pro. I've been doing this for years for multiple industries, and I still work once a quarter with somebody that helps me plan and strategize. It's just
Yeah.
really important thing to do for any business owner. And if you're trying to be more proactive with your marketing, trying to book direct, it's something that people should consider doing.
Yeah, and I think as you said, you do it yourself for your business. Having that fresh perspective, that outsider perspective, always helps as well, right?
It does help, and it helps when you feel defeated, because social
Mm.
media can marketing in general can make you can
Yeah.
feel defeated. So just having a kind of a positive take on what you're doing
Hmm.
is so helpful for people. It's actually one of my favorite things is helping people create a strategy that works for them, not only for their time but their skill level and their budget. There's a lot of considerations when people are trying to really start bumping up their social media.
Yeah. Awesome. Cool. So obviously we'll put your website in the show notes, but just Do you want to give a call out to your website so that people know where to go and find out more?
Yeah. So my website is jodibourne.com, just Jodi, Bourne, as in Jason Bourne from the CIA dude. I also have a podcast. It's called the Savvy Host
Mm.
Podcast. It's on Spotify, Apple, all of those places, and it's really short, actionable marketing strategies. There's a ton of social media episodes. I think probably 5 or 6 over the last year that I've
Nice.
put out there, and more to come. So anybody that wants to learn more about social media in general, or email marketing, or any kind of
Mm.
marketing, can go there. And then I have a bunch of little free guides. If they go to my website and want to, there's multiple different downloads, from learning about more about your guest avatar to
Yeah.
learning more about marketing. So
Awesome. I appreciate that. I'm sure our audience will too.
yes, yeah, I hope so. I love helping people. One of my favorite comments about me was I go above and beyond to help people. I love tourism, and I love
Mm.
helping people. Somebody asked me one time if I would still be doing this if I won the lottery, and I said, yeah, I would. I mean, I am really passionate about
Yeah,
helping people, with their business, and specifically tourism. It's a really fun industry. So yeah, I
for
like
sure.
helping. Yeah.
Nice. Love it. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Jodi.
Thank you so much for having me, Miles. I'm excited.
Thank you very much. And we'll speak to you soon. And thank you, everyone, for listening in today.